Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. If you're wanting a snowy winter getaway in the Smokies, now is the time to pick and book the right cabin for you. If you're wanting to watch the basketball tournaments, think about this. You and your friends want to get together, watch all tournament time, March Madness, get your cabin in the Smokies. Now is the time to book. Get to ParksideCabinRentals.com today to make sure you get the perfect cabin for you. Parkside Cabin Rentals. The Ogle family know what they're doing, trust me. Parkside Cabin Rentals. All right, take a look here at the Bracketology report. We'll do this every week. It'll mean more in about 2 months, but still, here you go. Joe Lenardi on the left, Jerry Palm on the right there, their projections. They both have Tennessee as a 2 seed at the moment. Joe Lenardi has Tennessee as a 2 in the East region, which would go through Charlotte to Boston. Jerry Palm has Tennessee as a 2 seed in the South region, starting in Memphis and making their way to Dallas. But 2 seed at the moment for the Volunteers. Now let's take a look at where they stand in the SEC. It's 1 game in, so we're not doing it by SEC standings yet. I just put it up there by yesterday's net rankings, the NCAA net rankings. Alabama was number 5, Tennessee number 6, but you see Auburn, Kentucky, Texas A&M behind them, and then the 4 next opponents for each of those schools. For Tennessee, they got at Mississippi State and at Georgia this week, so on the road, and then back home, Florida and Alabama after that. Again, once we get toward the end of the season, we're kind of watching the standings and we're looking at who's playing who. This will be a little bit more effective, but we're going to start it right there. All right, let's talk Mississippi State. Mark, what do we need to know? Tennessee, I'll say this. Ken Pomeroy has them ranked as the number 11 defense in the country. Tennessee is number 2. Yeah. He has them ranked, even though their schedule is nowhere near as good as Tennessee, he has them ranked number 33 in the country. Yep. This is not a bad basketball team. What do we need to know about the Bulldogs?
Well, and they've done that all with the absence of their preseason SEC player in Tolu Smith, big guy, 6'11". They've shot more threes because of with him being out, but they've had a backup center that's performed well in Bell. Now it's, they lost for South Carolina, who's off to a really good start yesterday. How are they going to adapt? But Tolu Smith is a guy that could give us problems. And defensively, this may be one of those games we're talking about us scoring more points. Yep. First team to 70, maybe 75 points is going to get this victory because it is 2 really good defensive teams.
That still beats last year when it was first team to 55. Yeah. That's the game. Okay, Isaiah, talk to me about the Hump. It's going to be played at the Humphrey Coliseum, 9,100 people. It's a small place, but they can get into it.
For sure.
What were your experiences when you went down there as a Vol?
I remember the last game we played there. It was a CBS game. I had a really good game. We won.
When didn't you?
But I think the first time I played there, I remember they had a center, Robert Jackson, and they were going crazy in there. And he was scoring left and right, and all I can remember him saying was, Robert Jackson.
Over and over.
Yeah, so it can get hostile. I think they're 11-3, so they're expected to be pretty good. I know they lost the other day, but they should still have a good turnout.
Yeah, they opened SEC play with a loss to South Carolina. Chuck, at Mississippi State, at Georgia, a lot of people are going to think, well, Tennessee will roll. They'll be 2-0 this week, blah, 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 blah. This is the first real test in the conference on the road. We'll get your pick. We'll do a little prediction, a little Cavalier slant on this later. But for now, thoughts about the Vols going on the road. I think anybody who's sitting there going, oh, this team's going to roll right into March, needs the smelling salts. This could be a tough week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're
at least
into
to start.
SEC, you're into SEC play now. And road wins, I think, are going to be more at a premium this season than in previous years. We've seen more improvement from the bottom part of the league. South Carolina being a perfect example of that. They beat Mississippi State 68-62, and Mississippi State only had 1 player in double figures. So it's a team, to me, that's a little offensively challenged. Like Tennessee used to rely so much on defense, rebounding. That's what Mississippi State is now. If you keep them off the free throw line, this is a team with Tennessee's depth. You really should be able to pull away from them.
Mark, here's the interesting thing. Tennessee goes on the road early in the year, wins at Wisconsin, looks good. The next true road game, they go to North Carolina, and they sleepwalk through the first half. They clawed back into it through a scintillating performance from Dalton Connect. But that's one good road performance, one pretty ugly road performance to start. Your thoughts on where this team is mentally in terms of what are you expecting to see when they go on the road?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, you're asking the question, I think it was even a poll question, do you play that type of schedule that Tennessee has played, or do you play a schedule like Mississippi State or Ole Miss has?
Yeah, Ole Miss. Yeah.
And the reason why coaches play these games on the road, the Wisconsins, the North Carolinas, Michigan State, is because as a player, you can go back to it and say, hey, this is what it was like. You've prepared your teams for those environments are not going to be more rowdy than Wisconsin or North Carolina or even Michigan State. So these guys are prepared to do it. Veteran ball club, like Isaiah talked about earlier. I would expect us to come out and get a victory, but it's rebounding. The other stat of it is that in 2 of their 3 losses, Mississippi State was out rebound. We've got to be able to control the boards, especially with Tolu coming back.
Jimmy Bell from Mississippi State is top 40 nationally in both offensive rebounding percentage and defensive rebounding percentage.
So the question will be,
him on the glass.
James was talking about last night, do they go big? Do they play Tolu and Bell at the same time, which Tennessee's not seen multiple bigs. We talked about our 3 big losses, Purdue, North Carolina. All those guys had really good bigs, and that's who we struggled against, and Tolu Smith is one of those guys.
And one thing we've also talked about this year is Tennessee has a tendency, they have a tendency to get in foul trouble a little bit. They get more fouls called on them, fewer on the other team. All right, you're not deep in the post. Is this a game where you get into a little bit of foul trouble inside?
As long as the refs don't cheat us, John.
That's right, the refs cheat us. Isaiah, did you have one thing to add?
Yeah, it'll be a little home cooking in the home. But I also wanted to say the pick and roll, the center pick and roll was so prevalent last game. Expect them to play it differently, whether they switch it or whether they just trap it or something like that. So I'd be expecting them to do something special for that.
All right, very good. Mark, thank you for coming in. We'll see you again next week. Isaiah, I hope to see you again next week, but we'll see you back here again. You're going to be back in town a little bit more often now, aren't you, with Globe Life, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm working with Globe Life in their Family Heritage Division. So, yeah, I'll be here going business to business, working with families and businesses.
All right, very good. Appreciate it. People can find your phone number, your business number, text you. It's on the bottom of our screen on a ticker. It'll roll through if they're wanting to do a little business with a VFL. Both of you guys, we'll see you coming back. Chuck, hang around with us. We got more. We got football coming up next. Nico. There's your team. Bye-bye.